If you're trying to grow out a short curly cut, I bet you're beyond frustrated with the awkward stages. After almost 60 years as a curly and 40 as a hairdresser, I've got your back. Are you ready? Let's do this. Hello, my curlies. Erica, your curl dresser here. This video is going to get you through the tough spots of a grow out. Now, whether you wanted your hair as short as it is, or you got stuck with a scissor happy stylist who knew nothing about curls,
it doesn't matter.
In the end, you're the one left looking like a poodle with a poodle cut. When it comes to growing out a short haircut, I've done this so many times. I mean, I have been butt length, I've been mid-back length, I've been shoulder length, chin length, and no length. After almost 60 years, you hit the whole gamut, don't you? Maybe you had a mullet back in the 80s. This was in 1983. This was my graduation picture. Yes, I had a mullet. Maybe in the 80s, you had your hair carved around the ears, like I did. Yeah, that was fun to grow out. So as you can see, I've done it many, many times. Is it a pain in the ass to grow out? Hell yes. Yes, it is. But as with everything else in life, we forget. We forget the pain and discomfort. I mean, I've forgotten the pain of sliding down my road, a hill on my road, on my chin. If any of you remember our old-fashioned remedies like mercurochrome or tincture methylate, after my father cleaned the gravel out of my chin, he used the tincture methylate. Ah! Oh my God, that pain I do remember. And of course, we forget about childbirth, which is why women have more than one child. As with everything in life that was painful, we forget. And then we decide to chop it off again because we get bored. When you don't want to keep changing your hair color as you mature, because you can't be doing the crazy shit that we used to do when we were young, well, so now we go from here to here, like this photo. And let's face it, we have all done it. We have all gotten bored and chopped it off. When curls are cut shorter, they get more spring, more bounce. Think back to a haircut you got when your hair had really grown out and you said to them, I really want to change. And so they cut off a couple of inches and all of a sudden, there's your curl again. You forgot how curly your hair actually was, but now without the weight on it, it springs. So imagine you go even shorter. Well, now your hair is even tighter unless you have the type of hair where if you cut it too short, you lose your curl. I have a couple of clients like that. And this is another reason to go to a curl specialist because we know to take that into consideration before we chop. And if you get in front of a hairdresser or even a curl dresser that doesn't know to ask this question, this is when knowing your own hair kind of comes into play so that you can give a heads up to a new hairdresser. Let's take this curl. Once I pull it down, do you see where it comes to? Pop. And that's what happens. Curl dressers know this. Curl specialists know this. And this way you don't end up looking like you stuck your finger in a light socket. At the end of this video, I am going to give you a couple of tricks on making your curls look more even as you go through that awkward grow out stage. As your curls start to grow out, you're going to feel like they have a mind of their own.
They do.
As all curls do. But when your curls are longer, it's easier to hide them and tuck them than when it's short. Sometimes
They misbehave.
the trick, rock it, ignore it, embrace it. Nobody is going to notice that wonky curl but you. Nobody. I promise you, nobody. Okay, my curlies, so now this is your arsenal for the grow out. You've got headbands, you've got scarves or belts that you can turn into a wrap. You've got hairpins to pull pieces back. You've got those big clips to grab a chunk and stick it on the top of your head, or push it back with a headband if you prefer these instead. You just look for the ones that don't give you a headache. These are my favorites. And this is going to be your arsenal for the days when you just can't make your curls behave and they are just pissing you off. Get them out of your face. If you're being casual, you're just running errands, and you don't need to necessarily look good, you can use one of these headbands. I'm going to try not to make too much of a mess of everything. You just pull it back, push it back. You can either bring it close onto your forehead, or if you prefer, you can bring it back, and then you just puff it out. And now it's off your face, it's doing its own thing, and you're done. Now, sometimes those wraparound headbands, they start to pull my hair up in the back, and I find them to be a little uncomfortable, so they're kind of short term. But then you have those hard ones. These were my go-to when my hair was short and I was growing it out. Like the picture with the dog that I showed you, that was my baby brother, Jacob. You see how you just push it back and you're done. Sometimes I would even pull out a piece just to have it look a little different sometimes. Then you have, if you want to be very dramatic, believe it or not, I have no scarves for my hair. I do not use them. I probably should, because when I threw this in to see if it would work, it did look kind of cute. The things you discover. This is a belt to a shirt, okay? It was easier when I didn't have earrings on. You can either tie a knot, like I think I'm going to do right now, gently, or you can tie a bow, or what have you. Preferably it would be a lighter fabric so it's not dragging your hair down like it's doing mine right now. But that's another alternative. Of course, there's always the classic clips, as we all remember so well from the 80s. Yay! Let's say your hair is freaking out on top and you don't know what to do with it. You stick a clip a little further back, you fan it out, and it's off your face. And if you don't have a forehead that looks like a friggin' landing strip, better. I unfortunately have a landing strip, although my little hairs are growing, but that's another video. Another way to get your hair out of your face, if it's starting to flip around or things just are not working, hairpins. Yes, hairpins. These are roller pins. They're bigger, but regular bobby pins will work just perfectly. These are very large. This is a little bigger than it should be, so it's going to not be hidden the way it should be hidden. If your sides are flipping out and they're just not doing what you want them to do, sorry, I'm having to look in the mirror behind the camera. And now it's pulled back, and this is one way to get it back. And because curls will fall forward, then it's going to cover the bobby pin. Now, another way, the final way to completely get your hair under wraps, if you look good in hats, wear a fun hat. Wear something cute. I personally don't look good in hats, so I was never able to rock that. But if you look good in hats, go for it. But then, my curlies, if all else fails and you can't get them to behave or pull them back, you say, screw it. That's what you do. And you let them do what they're doing, because no one's gonna notice. Well, except any child under 10. Then you're on your own. A cute story about out of the mouths of babes. My little cousin was 3 and I was 25. I had gotten to the house and I squat down and he comes running to give me a hug and I'm all psyched. And he stopped short. He says, "Titi, what's that?" And he points to the cluster of varicose veins that were on my thigh, yes, at the age of 25, out of the mouths of babes. I was like, thanks, kid. I appreciate that. Now run along. So yeah, no one is going to notice but anyone under 10. Let me know in the comments below how you handled your own grow out when you chopped your hair off. While you're down there, don't forget to hit the thumbs up. It's good for my algorithm. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't, and share me, please. Please share me. I am still holding out hope for 2,000 subscribers by New Year's Day. So if you could do that, my curlies, I would really appreciate it. Thank you in advance. Now, what are you supposed to use on your curls during the grow out phase? Well, it kind of depends on your curls. Let's say you still have a thick head of hair. Let's just say it. I'm envious if you still have a thick head of curls. This, I can't believe I still have this, is the clip that I used to need for my hair, my curlies. When it was, longer, I needed something this big and heavy duty. This is heavy duty, my girls and guys. This is like not kidding around. Ah, the old days. But I digress. But if you still have a thick head of curls, you will probably have the poof problem. And that poof problem is because you don't have any length that's dragging your hair down. When your hair is longer and it's filled with water and product, it's hanging. If you've got that thick head of hair that's going poof, you're definitely going to want to use a cream leave-in conditioner like the Aloe Hibiscus leave-in from INNAHSI or Fast Food from AG. Both of these will be heavier and will help keep your curls down instead of growing this way. Then when it comes to putting in styling products, creams like INNERSENSE Inner Peace Whipped Cream Texturizer. If you put it on your ends, you'll try to help drag them down a little bit more and keep them from going poof. Another thing to look for is something that says butters, like a hair butter. MIELLE Organics has the Moisture RX hair butter. And these are just thicker consistencies. You can keep your hair weighted down and not looking for moisture everywhere else. It's another favorite of mine when it comes to a cream, INAHSI Rock Your Curls Curl Enhancing Cream. This is very creamy and thick and
Smells delicious.
this is if you have a thick head of hair, mind you, my curlies. If you have fine hair, you would use a lotion because you don't need to have your curls weighted down. You're going to want to make sure that your curls have plenty of water in them. When your hair is filled with water and you're applying creams and butters, it makes it distribute nicer, better, easier. We like easier. When the dew point is above 60s, curls, you need help. You need moisture and you need to prevent the poof problem. You're going to want to seal it all with a gel. This is going to lock it in place and then you can dry. Two good gels to use, especially if you need to help elongate and keep curls from going poof. One is the INNAHSI Moisture Supreme line Curl Sculpting Glaze. This is a nice hard hold, so it's going to lock everything inside. The other gel that I really like for trying to keep hair down and tame, the INNERSENSE Organic Beauty I Create Curl Memory. This is very hydrating, really good for coarse, curly, kinky hair. This is going to help weight you down. So one thing to remember, especially for curly hair, if you find your hair goes poof too much, remember this one little rhyme. Moisture in the air means more product in your hair. Yes, that's mine. I'll put it on a tote bag. Now, like I mentioned, fine hair is usually not going to have the poof problem. So you can still use your regular products. If you find you're getting that poof, then start to play with adding in just one thing that's heavier and then go from there. You don't want to layer it because then it'll be flat to your head and then you're not going to be happy. The worst thing is to have curls that frustrate you. Don't add no volume to the mix. And for those of you who need volume still while you're growing out a short cut, don't forget about your handy dandy sectioning clips. These are perfect to keep your hair up and off your scalp while you start the drying process. This way you still get volume up top. Okay, here are those tricks that I promised you in order to help you have your hair look a little more even during the grow out process. First thing is you want to lengthen those curls. What that means is while your hair is still wet and drying, you're going to take the ends, hold them gently, and put the diffuser over them so that they're drying in that straighter position. Now, will they jump back? Probably. And you may have to do this a few times all the way around the head just to help lengthen them a little bit if they're too tight. If you don't mind how tight they are, then you don't have to do that. This is only if you need to get some extra length because your curls have gone. Short curls have less weight pulling them down. This is an easy way to elongate those curls if your curls have gotten too tight because they're shorter. Our curls don't all curl the same. We know this. So when you get a curly cut, if I know that a curl is more of a wave than a curl, I'm going to cut that a little shorter than one that I know is tighter, so that when you look at the cut, it looks shaped. But as your curls from a short cut start to grow out, if you have something that's more of a wave, it's going to be hanging lower than the curls that are tight. You see the problem. Usually it's not just one. Usually, because we have 2 to 3 curl patterns on our head at any given time, you will have pieces that are hanging lower than everything else. The way to fix that, my curlies, is cradle that curl. If you can't stretch the rest of the curls around it enough to help alleviate the difference, you'll take your diffuser, you'll take that one curl, you'll cradle it in your diffuser, you'll cradle it in your hand if you have one of those sock diffusers, and this way you're forcing the curl into it more. Now, sometimes I dry my hair exactly the same way, I think, almost every time. Well, sometimes always. It's a joke in my family. Sometimes these curls don't know what the hell they're doing, my curlies. I hope this video gives you some inspiration for growing out your short curly cut. Hopefully it made you laugh. And now with next week being Hanukkah, Christmas, and Kwanzaa, I will be taking the week off, as well as probably New Year's. Happy Hanukkah, Merry Christmas, Happy Kwanzaa, and have a wonderful New Year's, my curlies. I'll see you next year. Cheers, and ciao for now. Cheers, my curlies. Yes, it is eggnog. Hey, had to be festive. Let's do this. Let's do this. Okay. New tricks for making your curls look even. Hello. Tricks for making your curls look even. Well, where was I going with it? In a straighter manner. That's so stupid. Then one that I know is... Yes. Then I hope the video helped you. I helped. Awkward stages of a shorty. Cheers. And ciao for now. Oh, did I say I was taking off? Okay.